What is up, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Can't wait for another webinar. What's up, Lindsay?
What is up? I am awesome. It is a Monday. We are 2 weeks out from, no,
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks. I'm taking a week away. We're 3 weeks out from
what is going on here?
live event. Yeah, we're like losing time. No, I am working away over here. So good day. How are you today?
Yep, same here. I'm pretty good. I had to turn the air on in the office today because it was like 78 degrees in my office and I'm like dying. And I didn't realize it till like 20 minutes ago. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do a webinar and it's gonna be nuts. So
yeah.
Anyway, we have a great webinar today for you guys. Really excited about this. Whenever Lindsay's here, I'm usually pretty static with my message. It's like, don't do drugs, be smart. Usually that's kind of my message. Not usually, but when Lindsay's here, we are here to talk about marketing, which also means we're here to talk about lead gen. Very excited for our webinar today, how to basically get top-notch leads and close more deals. Very excited about that. So a couple housekeeping items before I share my screen here and we get rolling. I'm going to talk about this in a minute, but we have a live event that Lindsay just mentioned coming up May 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is in Indianapolis. I'm really excited about it. Mostly because we have amazing content and amazing speakers, and we do this every quarter, but I'm also a racing dork. Some of you guys know this about me, some of you guys don't, but I grew up driving race cars. Actually, I'm going to pull up. My mom sent me a couple weeks ago. I got to show you this, Lindsay, because I don't know if I showed the team this yet. But my mom sent me this picture. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. She's so cute. She's a big golfer, and she was all dressed up yesterday. I got to show you this one in her Masters attire. So that's Chris's mom.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I was at the Masters last year and brought her that. But she sent me this picture from when I was like 6, 7 in my go-kart.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome.
Yeah, so that's cool. A long time ago, and I got one more picture.
Racing yourself, right? Like
that was me in my go-kart. That's not fake. Like that was me racing.
Yeah, but like as an adult, like a young adult, correct?
I'm still not an adult for the record. Yeah, actually, I did that. Hold on, I'll pull up another picture.
This is Chris story time, everyone.
This is Chris story time. Yep. We're just letting people join. That's the deal. But this is me back in, I think this is probably 1999 or 2000.
Okay. What?
So that's me in my race car. That's one of my cars.
Cool.
It's funny. It's actually not pink. Everybody's like, "Oh, so you drive a pink car?" It actually was like a dark magenta, but in pictures it always came out.
So you repped the pink car before that was the cool thing to do.
I guess, yeah. And then this was last year. This was my parents and my brother and I at they had a memorial race for not a memorial race, but like it was called the Gib Weiser Classic. That was in Wisconsin. So that was my dad's car. That's actually in the Wisconsin Short Track Hall of Fame, which is kind of cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, I go way back with racing. So I'm very excited about our racing themed event. Got some racing speakers. We have our Wednesday night at the Dallara IndyCar Factory. On the actual Speedway grounds, I believe. So really pumped about that. We have a lot of people here with us today. So excited to see you guys. Get ready. A couple things I'm going to tell you before I start sharing my screen. Lindsay is, if you've not watched Lindsay present before, this is probably some of the best content from one of the best speakers you're ever going to see. And I don't say nice things to her very often.
No pressure.
But Lindsay is a phenomenal educator. I've told her various times that she's probably the best educator I've ever seen, namely because she's a good presenter, but her content is always on point. So pay attention, execute. Everybody that's registered here on the webinar with us is going to get a copy of the replay. You're also going to get a chance to win some stuff. So Lindsay, anything you want to say before I start diving in?
Yeah, I think that it's important to be here now. Invite your marketing team or your appointment setting team. So if you have SDRs, BDRs, head of sales that you can bring into this webinar, you can send them the link directly from StreamYard if that's where you're watching. Or you can also share the link directly from our public Facebook group. So if there's anyone in your ecosystem that needs to come into today's webinar, we're going to be talking about how to get better leads, better quality leads. This is really important for your lead gen teams, your BDRs, SDRs that are out in the field every single day, making connections, putting calls on the calendar, even your dialers. This is going to be really, really good content for everyone that's in that ecosystem in your business. Yeah. So you're getting on calls with people that matter. People are going to pay you. People who value your services. You're not going to be wasting your time anymore. So Really, really important. Send this link to anyone else that needs to be here.
Yep. And you got about 10 or 15 minutes, give or take, while I present before Lindsay's content that actually matters. We'll say that. Because Chris is his shit. We'll just say that now.
It is I think it's really important to preface with your content actually, because it backs us into the why. Where does all this stuff play in? Because you can generate leads all day. Every single person here on this webinar could generate leads all day long. I have no doubt about that. But one, are you getting the right leads? And two, do you have a proven sales process? Do you have a way to actually make it profitable? Or are you still selling the same old way, the same old stuff, letting the client dictate the path of service? So that's where your stuff comes in to really back up the long term of all of this.
Yeah, and actually most MSPs come into us saying, "Oh, I don't have enough leads. I can't sell. Blah 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 blah. I need more leads. I need more leads." That's great, but if I handed you the perfect lead, how well could you sell it, and how profitable would it be? So usually, Cindy Phillips, our head sales coach, she often says, "Do what you always did to get what you always got." So a good example of that is there. Okay, we're gonna get rolling. Okay, a couple things from me to you. First of all, we're going to show you, Chris, mostly Lindsay, you're going to show you how to add new leads to your MSP sales pipeline every single month. We're going to do that on this webinar. We're going to share real skills and real strategy. Now, there's a really important part with the strategy piece. We're not going to just like, okay, here's 5 leads. Boom, 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 boom. You got to think. You got to use the concepts here. And we're going to tell you to usually start with a single vertical or a single niche, but then you got to use that to land and expand. So it's really important that common sense applies with all this. It's really important that you use these skills to grow and build. We are also, this is the same stuff that you're learning here is the same stuff that Lindsay puts inside of her marketing machine and into her Leads Mastery business mastermind that we have. So these are high-level skills that we're going to give you a good chunk of stuff, things you can do on your own, but it's on you to actually implement them at your pace, but holding yourself accountable. If you stay until the end, I'm going to be giving away a few different prizes. I have one winner getting a $100 Amazon gift card. That can be cash if you guys want it to, but usually we have been doing really, really well with people from the States and Canada taking Amazon gift cards. We also have a second winner that's going to win a $75 Amazon gift card as well. And then everyone on this webcast that's here with us live, even on the recording, keep in mind, if you watch the recording, you can then mention the webcast as we go. We'll go down this path and I'll show you how to do this, but everybody that's on the webinar is going to have a chance to win their own $50 Amazon gift card also, but you have to stay till the end and I'll show you how to do that. Okay. Also, please pay attention. I know we got a million distractions. We got these guys in front of us. We got all this stuff. We got our watches. We got Slack. We got Teams. Everything's going off. No tickets, no client calls, no distractions. Please, if you're serious about growing your business, just give us 90 minutes. I promise you this is worth your time. This is Chris and Lindsay taking time out of our day to teach you guys some stuff. It's really, really valuable content. This is brand new stuff from Lindsay, completely brand new deck, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all new.
Brand new stuff. So she's going to teach you some awesome stuff. I'm going to talk really quick about our MSP MRR tour for the rest of I think it's the end of Q2 here. So we are already through Dallas, Phoenix, New Orleans, and Raleigh. We got Boston coming up literally next week. So Lindsay and I are going to be there with Ryan and Maria. So if you guys are anywhere near the Boston market, please come up and see us. We will be downtown Boston somewhere. I have no idea where it's at.
No idea.
No idea. Is it on a boat or something?
Maria just tells us where to show up, and that's what we do.
She even books our hotel rooms for us. It's like,
I'm trying to find a way for her to book my flight. She's not quite gotten on board.
Yeah, probably not. One. But also, after Boston, we have our Indianapolis event. You can go to 7-Figure MSP events or events.7figuremsp.com. Register for that. We got a promo code you can use right on here. I would love to see you guys there for that. And speaking of that, here is our 7th, 8th, and 9th deal. You can hit that. Promo code is REVGEN, REVGEN, and you can register for the live event. I believe that's a $47 discounted ticket now. If anybody needs a $47 ticket, if something happens or whatever, don't hesitate to shoot me a DM and I'll work with you to make sure you get one. We want to make sure you show up. Basically, the deal is you pay $47 and you show up, that's all you pay. But if you don't show up, then you pay more. That's the deal because we got to count food and all this other stuff. So, okay, moving on into our coaching team. We have an amazing team. You got Lindsay here live with us. We also have Cindy Phillips and Ryan O'Hara. We are a multifaceted coaching firm. We focus on sales and revenue and cash flow out of the box. but then teaching you how to sell the right way is what's key about seven-figure MSP, and then helping you with strategies, just like we're talking about with Lindsay, so you learn how to fish. We don't just hand you fishes, and that's a really, really important concept that we have for you guys. We focus on teaching you skills, not just temporary strategy or things that just work once, okay? And our goal is to see wins. All right, let's get into our content. Lindsay, you ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Also, I will say we are going to be referencing some things from previous trainings. So if you've hung out with us for the past 2 months, well, technically 3 months now, we've had this series going. So you may hear us reference our cold calling workshop or our RevGen workshop. And if you want access to any of those trainings, just let us know in the comments and our team will send those over to you. But last month we did a complete cold calling workshop. The month before that, we did a complete RevGen workshop. So if you hear us say something and you're like, I don't know what that is, or was there a resource or training on that, just ask and we can send that to you and get you plugged in.
Yeah, we have so much stuff. And I think we are going to be driving people to our school group, SKOOL. If you search for seven-figure MSP on there, you can get on there. But we're going to be driving a lot of people to that as we go here. A lot of Lindsay's trainings are going to be there as well. So, okay, let's keep going here. So thinking about this as we go here, I want you guys to be mindful that things in the MSP market has changed. Think about the whole industry. Think about everything from the MSP industry all the way down to the way that your clients receive support. Think about the way that think about your number one client. Think about your worst client, those two. Think about their relationship with IT. Think about their relationship with you as a service provider. Let's go all the way back to the time they first started with you, or maybe even the time they first started with technology. For the most part, over the last 15 to 20 years, that really hasn't changed. It's pretty much been the same. What were we to them? Think about what an MSP is to the end user, to that end user decision maker. Mm-hmm. For the most part, we're there to install new stuff for them, and we're there to fix things when they break. And yeah, we do some other miscellaneous stuff to maybe make them more efficient, blah, blah, blah. All this other, managed services included tasks. But for the most part, that hasn't changed up until about 2-3 years ago. And still, most MSPs to this day, Lindsay, we see them every single day. We see MSPs that are still coming in here selling exactly the same way. We had a guy post on into our Inner Circle clients group literally a week and a half ago. He had a quote from a competing MSP, and it was literally like, Webroot, $3 a month per user.
Broken down.
There was a bunch of it was all line item stuff. And I think the whole bill was like $240 for the client for the whole month. And it was like a 20 user client. Yeah. So there's zero benefit to that, to the end user client, especially when we come into the fact that we know, in fact, I often do this in every single room that I speak in. I say, hey, everybody in the room, raise your hand. We did this at IT Nation last year. We do that at all the road shows. Everybody in the room, raise your hand. Everybody raises their hand. I said, okay, which IT company, which people in here can prevent all hacks? All the hands go down. Mm-hmm. Because we know as IT people, things have changed. We're in a place where we know they can get hacked. We know we can't use words like prevention or even antivirus or anti-spam and all these things anymore. We really can't use terms like that because they're very limiting, because we can't ultimately decide that. So how does that matter related to this? Well, the bottom line is these businesses are not prepared. They are in a place where they fully believe, and I want you to think about this. I want you to really think about this. Your clients, the same guys we were just talking about, they fully believe you have their back. Now, I understand there's some anomalies here and there, or maybe you're really good at having the conversation with your client and telling them, hey, Mr. Client, you're going to get hacked. But for the most part, I'd be willing to bet if you picked up the phone right now and said, hey, I was just on the dark web. I saw all of your bank passwords and they took half the bank money in your bank account last night. What's your plan? Your clients would be like, you're my IT guy. You tell me. What do you mean? How did they get in? What's going on? They would start this huge barrage of questions because they think you got their back. Mm-hmm. Because the bottom line is you can't stop it and your clients will get hacked. Now, can we minimize things? Maybe. Can we put some walls up? Maybe. Blah, blah. Every time I have this conversation, MSPs are like, I could blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Whatever. If that's what you think, that's fine. But the bottom line is there's a piece of software that's in every business in the world that you can't control. And it's called a human.
Yep.
So anytime you're dealing with humans and they're not entirely smart, right? Humans and technology and all this other stuff, you're in a place where you can't guarantee anything. And I want you to think about some of the other things on the background of that. But, let's come back to your client. So think about that guy that I was just talking about that is going up against the nickel-dimey line item billing, $3 a month for WebRoot and all these other things scenario. He's just literally putting a percentage on top of what he pays his provider. No service value on that. Your client and these prospects, they all still treat IT support or managed services or tech support or whatever you want to call it like a bargain basement service. Because the problem is, and I just referenced this, they think you are already doing everything they need for cybersecurity. And I want to say that one more time. All of your clients, more than likely, unless you have a phenomenal system, and I'm not going to say everybody is this way, but I'm going to tell you probably 98% of MSPs that we see, that we talk to, they are not communicating to their clients. Their clients think they're covered because they haven't changed how they do business. So they think that they're doing everything they need. And then there's this giant oh shit moment when there's a breach or hack or even spam clicked on, or we had a person resident, or they came in through a third-party tool, or all these other variables, because the MSP literally has no idea, and they have not invested the time and the money and all these other things to make sure they're delivering a service that, more importantly than, we can't prevent anything. So what do we have to do? I'm going to talk about that in a few minutes, but the bottom line is you have to establish a pattern of behavior that says, we cared, we tried, we did everything we could to show Mr. MSP client that they were going to get hacked, and they had to do everything they could to recover and somebody else pay the bill, aka somebody else being insurance. So I want you guys to really, really, really think about that. Think about the relationship, your clients and your sales message too, which we talk about in our sales webinars. What is the message that you send to them? Is it, we guarantee it, we got your back, or you're your IT guy, or we have to partner up to manage cybersecurity. We have to manage our risk. Totally different messages.
Yeah, that's such a key difference. Just from someone who doesn't come from cybersecurity, to have that stark difference between we help you prevent, and we can prevent all hacks, to we help you manage the risk. That's such a huge difference in messaging, because otherwise, you're right. If it's left unsaid, they're assuming that you're already doing it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so huge difference there.
Yep, absolutely. And what's cool is most of our team, like me and Ryan O'Hara, are really the only ones that are technical. And I'm like almost not technical anymore. Ryan O'Hara sold his MSP a year ago. I sold mine now 8 years ago. We're the only technical ones on our team. So we like to test our stuff on people like Lindsay and Cindy and some of the rest of the team that we have, because they've never been in the trenches with an MSP before. So what do we have to do? What can you do as an MSP owner to try and start to go down this path? Now, side note, in our elite coaching program, this is what we do, and we create you a managed experience that we work with you and we hold you accountable, and we kind of, babysit's probably the wrong word, but we do a lot of that stuff. But I can give you a lot of things here that you can start to do on your own. So first of all, you have to sell, and more importantly, your entire messaging in your entire business from touch one all the way down has to be about cybersecurity, which means you have to eliminate your good, better, best mindset. Now, when I say that, that's your silver, gold, platinum, whatever your bronze, silver, gold, whatever you call it, whatever you have, make sure you are leading with. Now, this does not necessarily mean you have to sell everybody this, but you at least have to start leading with cybersecurity first and a single all-inclusive best plan. This is the start on, first of all, we're selling the right way. We're also starting the establishment of that pattern of behavior, laying that groundwork, that yellow brick road behind us, to where we're saying, we cared about IT. We cared about cybersecurity. We cared about risk prevention and risk management. We cared about these things. So when they have a breach, you can be like, yeah, I tried, guys. The client was the one that refused to put this in. So you walk in the door, one plan only, full stack. And it all comes down to a single L word. Is that not good? L word? L word? Not what I meant, actually, but it's the L word. It's the L word. It's liability. Because I want you to think about this. We all have this like, holy crap, what happens if my client gets hacked tomorrow and all, like, just imagine if your client gets hacked tomorrow, they literally encrypt everything on site and take some of the money in their bank account, or they get they get a $500,000 wire, or, something that happened in this scenario. Who are they going to blame? You have to be able to say, I wasn't negligent. And this is the word that the insurance companies, and more important, the people that come in and do the after, I forget what that's called, brain fart on that, but they come in and they will actually do, what is that word? Damn it. When they come in and they fix it afterwards.
Incident response?
Yes, the incident response.
Says the marketing girl.
I know. I'm just got so much going on.
Yeah.
But think about this. When the incident response team comes in, or the mitigation team comes in, who's that usually coming from? That's coming from the insurance company, or maybe even a compliance company, depending on where you're at and what type of client it is. You have to be able to say, yep, hey, here's what we did. We told them they needed more. We told them they needed a cybersecurity risk assessment. We completed that for them. We presented them a plan. We offered them the full stack. They declined. So we allowed them to take us down the ladder. Fine, but we showed them they needed more. So the statements are so key in this, and the ability to establish that pattern of support and that behavior. We tried. So that's really important towards eliminating negligence. Just imagine if you don't do the full thing and the client's like, if you would have told me, I would have done that, but you didn't tell me, so it's not my fault. That's negligence. And you don't want to have that pinned on you. So that's thing number one. Thing number two for me, you have to do a client discovery risk assessment. Not just your orange jump drive, not just one scan, not just any of these other things. There's a bunch of great tools out there. No one tool runs everything. I'll tell you that right now. We combine multiple things into our risk assessment. Obviously, we want to gather data points. We want to gather some pain. We want to gather some tech issues. That's like thing one, and that's your orange jump drive and maybe some interview questions. But you also want to find that pain and then tie it into emotional ties. I'll give you an example of this. Looking at a client's bank account with them and seeing if it doesn't have MFA on it, or at least seeing if they have MFA on it, or also a full phishing simulation, or maybe a phishing situation where you can see who clicks on things. We can also look at plain text passwords in browsers on all their machines, at the very least their executive machines. These are things that you can gather and then tie back to, here's what's going to happen here. Like, if you don't have a multi-factor authentication on your bank account and your stuff's exposed on the dark web, or they hit your machine and they got plain text password in your browser, they can get on your bank account when you're not there. They can log in from anywhere, guys, or they can remote in your machine at night because they've set up access, and then they don't need any approvals on these things. This is really important stuff, because you have to know their network better than the hackers do to show them where their vulnerabilities are. These are all really important things. And then most importantly, we have to be able to show them what a hack will really do. Have you actually done? Remember when we were kids, Lindsay? Well, yeah, that's like 10 years ago for you. But we had like, I love that. She just gets so pissed off when I say. But remember when we were kids and they did fire drills in school, right?
Yeah.
They had a fire drill in school because it's like, okay, we can tell them there's going to be a fire, but nothing simulates it like us running outside and then doing all this other stuff when it's, in the middle of winter. I was in Wisconsin when I grew up, and we did fire drills in the damn winter, and it sucked. They didn't even give us time to get our coat, kind of thing. Mm. You want to do the same stuff with your client because you want to generate some pain. This is the kind of stuff that you can actually do. So you got to think like, what's going to happen when there's a real breach? And do not be so ignorant to say, well, this can't happen to me. I got great tools. We just established a few minutes ago, nobody in any room I'm in can prevent all hacks. Can't control the software. The only way to prevent all hacks is to fire all the people and unplug all the computers. That's it. It's the only way it's going to happen.
Boom. There you go.
How many people have had clients go to them, we'll just switch back to paper. Okay, so we're going to dump cell phones and email? It's not very viable.
Never going to happen.
I want you to think about that.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a deliverable for you guys, so get your phones ready, or maybe just screenshot the screen or whatever you want to do. If you're watching on the replay, pause it here. This is our run the play worksheet. This is actually really cool. Now, we say run the play in seven-figure MSP lingo. That means that you go through the entire cybersecurity risk assessment, the interview process, all the things, all the way to presenting is what that means. So what we want you to do as you come into our program, keep in mind, this is a fully managed scenario with you. We have coaches. We real-time monitor this. We have account managers, and we work with you real time to manage this scenario. We go back to your existing clients first. Then what we do is we run the play on them. So you see here, list all accounts that have paid you money in the last 12 months. Pick 3 accounts that will tell you no to anything you suggest. Call them, let them know you're going to be running a cybersecurity risk analysis on the business, schedule the findings meeting for 4 weeks later, and we start running our scans, doing all our stuff. Here's a way to do that with a bunch of really good content. Now, obviously, you have to present. You got to show those things. If you need help with all that, that's where you come into us. I'm going to give you some deliverables here. Lindsay's going to show you how to get new leads. But this is the kind of stuff that pays the bills, because our pricing that we recommend and we teach you how to price is based on an 80% gross profit margin, usually around $300 or higher per seat in your market. Your currency, your market. And this is working. And I'm going to tell you guys this right now. You might be watching this right now and be like, why is this nuts? I can't do $300 per seat. Lindsay, where are we doing this?
Everywhere.
Literally every
Canada.
Every English-speaking country in the world, we are doing this at $300 per seat in their currency.
Mm-hmm. There is no one in our community that's like, nope, it's okay. You can sell at $150. Oh, nope, it's fine. You get an exception. No, it's the standard across the board.
It is, and it's the baseline. Just because we say $300 per seat doesn't mean it's the bottom or the top, I should say. It is the bottom. Yep. So we say start there on a 36-month agreement and move up from there based on the type of client. Oh, I got a single person shop. What's your get out of bed number? That's what Cindy calls it. I won't get out of bed unless it's this. We recommend $1,500 a month, $1,000 a month, whatever you want, but don't sell it at $50 a month for a single seat company. Ain't worth your time. Ain't worth getting out of bed for. Good things. See how the mindset is? This is what we think. This is how we move. And if you've been around me for any length of time, you could probably tell I'm slightly ADD. It's a wee bit. I'm also like this in person. Like you're basically getting the same guy. This infectious, this crazy all the time, right? And Lindsay's just laughing because she's like, it's actually worse in person.
It is actually. It's
okay.
It's on stage though.
It's fun on stage for sure. Yeah. Okay. Step 3 on this. So obviously we did our stuff on the front side. Let me back up on that really quick here. So we had step 1, our full stack. Step 2, our CSRA, our cybersecurity risk assessment. And now step 3, we have to present our risk findings. Now, inside of our coaching program, we have a full PowerPoint template for you guys. I can give you some basic ideas and some basic stuff. Do not talk tech. I don't care how big your servers are, how long your retention is, how big your SIM is, how big your SOC is. This isn't a you-know-what measuring competition. This is a present risk and make them understand the reality. So present your risk findings. Do not talk tech. No techie stuff. I don't care how big your help desk is, all these other things. But highlight the stuff that you found to create emotion and need. The big thing here, we call this the risk light bulb. Our goal is to turn that risk light bulb on so they understand. You think about like in a cartoon, light bulb goes on. Oh my God, bright idea. Character's got the bright idea. We want them to understand they're going to get hacked. What's your plan? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I know I'm your IT guy, but I'm not managing all this. And I'm here to tell you that. Now, I understand this makes you look like you're in a room not doing your job. You have to state this, guys. This is part of why you lead with full cybersecurity, full stack, because you say, hey, times have changed. We have to do things differently. We have to do a lot of different things because the threats are evolving. The threats are changing. There's stuff that's out there. We're finding malware inside of devices that you bought for years. We didn't know that. Nobody knew that. We have to do things differently. And you use the excuse of, we have to get ready for when we have a bad day because we want insurance to pay the bill. So we got to think about what insurance is going to want when that day happens. So we want them to get it. They already know insurance. Every business in the world already has, insurance, general liability insurance, health insurance, all these different insurances. So we want to make sure we include all that and have a conversation about it. It's not about charging you more. It's about making sure you can recover and that somebody pays the bill because this is going to happen, guys. This is really important to understand. Really important stuff. If we don't turn on the risk light bulb, you will never create that need. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you're running into scenarios where people are like, you're too expensive, or I don't want to pay this much, they don't get it. What is it in their head? It's literally just that same old IT support discussion that we had right when I started, which is how do they view IT? How do they view technology? Break, fix, install new shit. That's all they care. So if that's all, and I'm not going to say you're going to close everybody, for the record. You are not going to close everybody. But what you can do is control the outcome. And that is a huge factor. When you can sit here and say, okay, I know here, right here, because I know a bunch of you guys in IT land are sitting there saying, I have no plan to get my clients on a full stack because as I sit here right now, I can't afford it because I'm not charging them enough, and I can't charge them more because they just see me as a cost. You have to flip their brain, reframe them. That's it. That's turning on the risk light bulb. And if you don't do that, you'll never change them. And you eliminate that price objection by highlighting them and showing them their needs. It's that simple. Okay. Lindsay, do you have your slide deck ready? Because I think I'm about ready to come to you. You got to share your screen.
I'm just going to share my screen.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm ready to go.
Okay. So we're going to head over to Lindsay. I'm going to monitor the chat here. Let's see if we got anything. Don't have anything right now. So if you guys got questions that are watching us live, don't hesitate to comment below any of the videos. I don't care. We're on multiple platforms here. We got Facebook. We're StreamYard webinar right now is what we're using. We also got Facebook. We got 3 different Facebook groups. We have also our LinkedIn channel and our YouTube channel. So I'm going to wait 1 second and we'll get over with Lindsay.
Oh boy, it won't let me share my entire screen. This happens every time.
Make it a slideshow.
It's in slide from current slide. Did that.
And then share on the bottom. You're sharing your actual program. Share the PowerPoint slideshow. Go to present, and then share screen.
Present is top right. I mean top left from current.
No, not there. On the StreamYard thing. Do you have your slideshow up there?
Oh. Okay. Yes. Here we go. Present.
And then share screen. Choose window.
Share screen. This is what I did. We'll do it
window.
again. Window.
And then PowerPoint slideshow.
PowerPoint slideshow. That's what I got. And share. And from current slide. Yeah, it's not working for me. So here's what I'm going to do. Can you just operate on your side and we'll go.
Yeah, but it's going to be clunky, but okay. There we go.
All right, awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here. So what we want to talk about is what is a bad lead? So whenever we think about putting leads on the calendar, we want to think about, hey, who is the right lead? Who is it that I want on my calendar? If I'm going to take the time from my sales team, from myself, maybe you are the sales team. Who is it that I want to spend my time talking to? So I want to hear in the chat, those of you that are with us, whether you're in the Facebook group, LinkedIn, here with us live on StreamYard, tell me in the chat, what is a bad lead for you? If you were to get on a call with someone and they're not a great lead, what does that mean for you? What's a bad lead in your opinion?
So here's my idea while we're waiting on some people to come in here. I look at a bad lead as somebody that does not value the relationship and just wants the cheapest guy. That's what I see as a really bad lead. That's my suggestion. Let's see if we got anything coming in here.
Yep, I actually have some examples on the next slide. And Chris, if I tried to share my actual PowerPoint in StreamYard and it says the file is too big. So if you tell me how to condense this file, I can share that way.
We're not even going there on a live webinar. Dude.
He's like, not going to happen. Okay. So someone says one that doesn't value security. Okay. Yeah. So you can actually see here where Niles, this is where a few of our clients told us what a bad lead was to them. So Niles says, hey, it's someone that says, I don't like online meetings. Can't you just meet me at my office? What that says to me is they don't value my time, first of all. Tom says, my guy just came in when we needed him. And that's all we're looking for. So I totally agree with you. They don't value security. They're just looking for someone to do what they tell them to do and when they tell them to do it. Steven says, someone who's not concerned with network security or cybersecurity. Totally agree. And then we have another Steven says, none of the decision makers are on the meeting and I can't get access to them. So this one was actually interesting. I asked
that's probably the best one I've seen. I love that a lot.
Yeah, I actually asked Steven to follow up on that. What did you do in that moment? Kind of what was your process? Did you take the meeting? Did you not? Steven went on to tell me, I tried to get them on the meeting. He said, or the decision maker was like, no, it's fine. My manager, our office manager is going to take the meeting. It's okay. She can make decisions without me. No big deal. So Steven said, I went ahead. I went ahead and did the meeting. He gave me the green light. He's like, I was a little skeptical, but I went ahead and did it. He went ahead and did it. And he said after the meeting, he sent them forward in the process to the discovery CSRA process, and they completely ghosted him. So I think it's so important that there will be times where the decision maker or the org chart of the office is going to send you to the office manager, or they're going to send you through to the administrative assistant or to the executive assistant or whoever. And the problem is that if there's no value, if there's no buy-in from the decision maker, if there's no buy-in from overhead, well, let's think about what's happening with most gatekeepers. What, like a administrative team, office managers, etc. They are busy and they're doing 12,000 other things. So of course you're going to get left on, maybe I'll follow up, or you're going to get ghosted, or you're not going to get that follow up. So it's super important that we make sure that we get those decision makers into the room with us. Okay.
And I think it's really also important that you guys need to embrace your no sometimes. It's like,
yes,
think about the insurance industry, or think about the investment industry or the banking industry. They won't even meet with anyone less than the decision maker, period.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason it's kind of accepted is because those industries are so old and they've done things that way for years and years and years. This industry is evolving and it's changing. And I understand maybe we could pull it off on a gatekeeper before, but we surely can't anymore. And I want you to be very conscious of that.
Yep. So one thing that we want to talk about is what's a good lead. And we're going to go through that in a few minutes. I've actually got some key indicators for you. I've got a couple of checklists. I've got ways that you're going to help to bring in more of those good leads. But we have to be really clear on what the bad leads are. So these are leads that are dictating the path of service, which we've already talked about that today. Price is their number one decision driver, their number one decision maker. They're looking for the lowest price. They're looking for the deal. They say, oh, well, this gal down the street, they quoted me at a quarter of the price. And they're really looking for price to be their number one decision-making factor. Of course, disrespectful, like that's actually a rule within our coaching program. We won't work with you if you're a jerk. So I encourage you to adopt the same motto in your business. We're not going to work with anyone that's a jerk. And if we have to, if they're locked into a contract, Chris, what is it that you call it? There's like an extra tax that we add on, right?
It's a PITA tax.
Yeah, exactly. The PITA tax. So you guys
know what PITA is, I'm sure, right? Yeah.
Yes. Or they're just plain unbothered. So like we had over here in the chat, this is someone, they just don't value security. They are completely nonchalant with the growth of their business. They're unbothered by anything going on in the world, almost like they have their head in the clouds, as if, this isn't going to ever happen to me. Whatever. I'm just trying to get by. I'm just trying to skate by. I don't even know if we're going to be open in 3 years. They just have that. They don't have that growth mindset. Okay. So I'm going to take you through some psychographics that we're going to talk through. And I want you to start looking at your lead generation. I want you to start looking at your audience differently. Okay. So if you watched our training last month, you know how to generate the leads. We went through, our training was probably 2 hours last month.
It was long.
A complete breakdown of exact step by step on how to do outbound lead generation. So you already know that part. We just have to make sure that now you're getting the right leads, because it's one thing to have a numbers game. It's one thing to have the quantity, but we want to also make sure that we have the quality. So we want to make sure that our leads are the right kind of leads. So they're the right kind of leads, right market, right kind of leads. They've got the right mindset, and they're coming in to us at the right time, both on their right time and our right time. Number one, we know that we are qualified to work with them and to solve their problems, to help them with the growth of their business. And they have the budget, the time, the mindset. They're in the right place at the right time also to work with us. Okay. So why is this important? So I'm curious, why is this important to you? Why is this important to you that you have the right leads? Tell me in the chat. Why is this important to you that you have the right leads?
Well, here's what I'm going to tell you on that. From my standpoint as the owner, founder, CEO of Seven Figure MSP, if we do not have the right leads in place, it's the difference from closing a deal and not. It's also the difference between controlling the sales cycle and not. It's the difference of getting the people that we want in our program.
Mm-hmm.
And if I back up a slide on this here for you, getting the people we want in the program. Come on, baby. There we go. I want to have.
Yeah, go ahead.
I want to have the right people with the right mindset. And I think that's such a key statement there, because we don't have people that are, I've seen that meme that's like, are the people in your ship bailing water in, or are they drilling holes?
Oh, that's good.
And I think that is such a huge thing, because we talk about that with staff, but we don't talk about it enough with leads, because it's the difference between closing deals and not.
Yeah, absolutely.
We got a couple comments coming in here.
Yeah, let's see. We got Vince says, "Do not waste time with things that won't become first-time appointments." Exactly. And we're going to talk about what that means and how that actually trickles into your results, into your trajectory as a business owner. As for us, for an example, if you're not the right fit, you're not going to get the best results. And I know I am a powerful coach. I know that I help my clients get results. But if you come in and you got a terrible mindset, you're looking for ways that it's broken, you do the work halfway, you constantly are negative, you're not going to get the best results. Whereas you can go in, you have the right mindset, you're resilient, you show up, you do the things, you listen, you are coachable, you're going to get better results. So same thing with your clients. If you're trying to convince people to work with you, and I'm going to actually show you a difference here. If you're trying to convince people to work with you, you're almost like twisting their arm. You're kind of pulling them behind you. You're like, come on. Cybersecurity is important. Let's go. Here's why you should care. Come on. It's all this extra energy that you're having to expend just on convincing people. So therefore your work's not as quality. Folks are not doing the work. They're not training their employees. They're not doing what they need to do. So you want to make sure that you're talking to the right people, right time, right mind. Okay. So I did a little research yesterday, and this was an actual website from an IT company in North Florida. And this is literally a screenshot of their homepage. So I want you to tell me, based on what you see, what kind of lead do you think they are getting? Okay. What type of person do you think would reach out to make contact with them? So you see, we kind of have this background. It's a coffee and like a notepad. It says click here to make an appointment, and it has like a text box with their phone number right there. And then it gives a little bit of backdrop info. Hey, call us for your IT needs. We have expertise in virus removal, hardware, and internet troubleshooting. So what type of lead do you think that they're going to get?
I'm going to tell you right now. It says they're focused on residential customers, so they're probably going to get people, like individuals is probably what they're going to get. That's thing number one.
Yep. All right. So Frank says, where can we get the video from last month? Frank, I've got you noted right here, and we'll make sure we send it over to you.
Frank doesn't need that. I know Frank.
Okay. I mean, Frank wants it. So Frank, we'll make sure the team gets that to you. Okay, so what I know from looking at this website is, yes, residential customers. I'm also looking at people who are in a reactive state. So it says, we help you remove viruses. We help you troubleshoot. Yeah. We help you with the after effect, rather than we're helping you, like you said earlier, we're helping you manage the risk. We're helping you be proactive rather than reactive. Okay, so that's very, very important. Now, if we look at the next website.
Really quick on this, they're also, everything that's on this list. Remember in my discussion, guys, what I was talking about, the MSP that's from how long ago? That's the stuff that, like, are we even talking about virus removal anymore? Like, it's not even really a factor anymore. This is all stuff that was serviced and sold years ago.
Yeah. Well, there was also a public press release from the Federal Trade Commission that we are in a shortage of true cybersecurity professionals.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Pretty key language in there, that there's a shortage of not employees, but there's actually a shortage of companies that are truly cybersecurity professionals. That is a big factor from the FCC. For the FCC.
Look it up. Absolutely. Yeah. Vince says, not the kind of leads that are going to get them to retirement. Residential, you don't do to make money unless you're a Geek Squad, the fleet of low paid techs. I agree with that. I think that's so true, Vince. So it's really important that we have the right message that's going to attract the right client. So let's look at this one. Again, it's the top portion of an MSP's website. We create business success. I've got a nice background. You can tell it's business people with their suits. They have their electronics there. That tells me that they're operating using technology. Let me see. Let me see if I can zoom in on that next piece. It says we help companies. So they have their I help statement. We help companies, number one, build fast, secure, and always available technology. So what does that tell me about the incoming leads that this company is getting? What does that tell me about the incoming leads that this company is getting? I also have a nice chat bot over there on the right-hand side. I've got someone that I can speak with if I go to their website. Okay, well, the first thing that catches my eye is that this is very clearly targeted toward businesses. So it's not targeted toward residential. It's probably not even targeted towards the startup entrepreneur that, hey, like get me some laptops or help me just kind of get going. This is truly looking at someone that's valuing fast, secure, and always available technology. Okay, so that has three keywords there. So my question to you is, how important do you think quality of leads and clients is to your growth strategy? Why does this really matter? Because I see this happen often where it's like, oh, well, I'll just take anyone. Like, I mean, I'm just going to go like canvas my city. I'm going to go canvas everywhere, in my 10-mile radius. And that's fine. You can totally do that. But we want to be strategic in the companies that we're targeting, especially because if you're targeting a certain sector, who you're targeting is taking resources from your company. It's taking time, it's taking money, it's taking energy. Okay, so we have to be very, very strategic in that. So whenever you think about the list that you're targeting, how does this impact your exit strategy? How does this impact your growth strategy? So go to the next slide right there, Chris. And I want to hear from you. In your opinion, okay, how does this impact your growth strategy? Think about your seat price. So you heard Chris mention your get out of bed number. We talked about your seat price, so charging $300 per seat. Okay, do you think a bad lead is going to want to pay $300 per seat when they can go get it from Tech Tom down the road that's selling it for $15 per seat?
Or Best Buy, when they just walk in and take their stuff there. I know the amount of companies that are still going to Geek Squad at Best Buy and still taking their business in there, right?
That's right. So we have to really think, number one, what differentiates me from the Best Buy or from the Geek Squad? What makes me different? And number two, do I even want those kind of leads that are going to those places? Do I even want to work with those kind of people? And maybe it's not even personal. Sometimes I think we take it personal, but sometimes we just haven't even done enough. We haven't done enough of the work that helps convert people. We haven't made them aware. We haven't done our due diligence. So let's go down 2 slides, Chris, and we're going to go to disqualify and then qualify. Here's the very first step that I want us to focus on. And you're quite good at the slide deck stuff, by the way. I will say this.
Not the best, honestly, but not the best.
I mean,
you guys just joined us. Lindsay broke her PowerPoint, so Chris is the designated on my side slide deck page turner.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm going to hear about this after our presentation today. It's a good thing my content is like top notch. All right. So the first thing that we want to do is we want to disqualify, then qualify. So let's talk about what this means. I want to disqualify as much as I possibly can. Okay. I want to disqualify the folks who are not a fit. So let's talk about what is a quality lead. If someone was qualified, what would that look like? This would be someone who has attended our webinars, someone who's attended cybersecurity briefings, someone who's attended lunch and learns, events that we've hosted. Okay, they have been in our space. They've been in our aura. They're not a completely total cold lead who has never, ever, ever been served any content, any educational material from me. I know I have worked in the MSP industry long enough. I'm getting pretty seasoned over here that I know that we are all looking for the quick win and the quick close. The truth, however, is that if you're looking for the quick win, you're looking for the fast close, you are going to probably outsell yourself in terms of you're trying to jump the gun. You're going way too fast. You got to slow it down. We have to educate people. Okay, so we want to make sure that our qualified leads, to get those qualified leads, that we're bringing them into our events. We have content for them to consume. We have educational materials. We want to get into that first-time appointment and that discovery call with them where they're actually selling themselves on working with us. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through the questions here in a minute. Okay, but first take note of these key indicators. You can take screenshots or a picture of this if you want, but we want them to come into the call telling us what their business goals are. What's the vision for their company? What do they value as a company? What makes them excited for the future? What's keeping them up at night? What would the perfect solution look like? So at this point, they are literally selling themselves for them to work with us. Instead of us trying to pull them down, come work with us. Come believe in cybersecurity. It's real. We don't want to do that. We want to have so much value and content and education up front that we're not having to sell them on working with us. Instead, they're selling us on working with them. Okay. The third point here, so important. We never want to be in a first-time appointment or in what we would call a sales appointment, okay, a business meeting where a sale is going to take place, where they don't know that they're being sold to. Okay. How many of you have ever been in a sales call and you didn't even know that it was a sales call? Okay. That is out. That is not in. Instead, we have informed, educated, and trust-based selling. That is what is in, okay? So we have to make sure that we're being very clear with what's going to take place in our first-time appointments, what's taking place in our discovery calls, what's taking place in our CSRA presentations, that they realize that they're in a systematic process to see how we can support one another and see if our solution would be a fit for them. Okay, it has to be consensual, and they have to realize that that's what's taking place. We're not doing bait and switch. We're not calling them up and saying, hey, I found your info on the dark web. You've got to meet with me to get it back. And then we're bait and switching to make them pay to get their results back. And like that's not cool. It's going to really turn people off. They're going to meet you with more resistance. You're going to meet resistance with more resistance. They're going to be totally with their defense up, totally with their guards up. I've seen this play out many times. Okay. So they have to be aware and they have to give consent to be sold to. Okay. We want to look for a willingness to invest in cybersecurity. So this is going to come through these top 3 things right here. Did they attend a webinar? Did they attend a briefing? Did they grab our free book? Did they attend our lunch and learn? Are they watching our live streams? Did they opt into our 15 ways to protect your business freebie? Did they get our free ebook that we have? Are they opting into these resources? And are they saying, yes, I see that cybersecurity is something that I need to know about and I'm willing to invest in it? Okay. Are they aware of current cybersecurity threats? And are they in a posture of growth? And you know what this means. Are they in a posture of growth? Do they have the money, the mindset, and the readiness to change? Again, I am not trying to pull someone behind me, trying to convince them that they need this service. Either they're in the posture, they have the money, they get it, they're ready to grow, and they're looking for that trusted advisor to partner them, or they're not. Okay. There are way too many businesses out there that need your services for you to be convincing and wasting your precious time and energy and expertise on people that are never going to buy from you anyways. Okay. So let's go on to key indicators of an unqualified lead. So when I think about an unqualified lead, we all know, oh, it's somebody that wants the lowest price. But let's talk about these lesser known indicators. Number 1, they've never consumed any of my content. Now, your rebuttal to that may be, well, Lindsay, I don't have any content. Well, you better get some. Okay. Have they attended your webinars? Have they attended your cybersecurity briefing? Have they attended your live streams, your lunch and learn, any type of event where you are positioning yourself as a leader? That's it. You're all business owners. You're a leader. You're a leader within your industry. So you have to start acting like it. Otherwise, guess what? That's how you do get commoditized. That's how you do get put into the list of all the other IT providers out there. And then they start comparing line items. Okay. Just like Chris said in the beginning of this, that's whenever they start comparing line items and they say, oh, well, Tech Tom over there gave me a breakdown of all the services and it only comes out to $15 a month. I'm not kidding. I've literally met MSPs that are selling at $15 per seat. Okay. So this 100% happens. So this is how you get put into the same stack or into the same pile with those tech toms that are doing that. No offense to all my toms in the room. Okay. But we want to make sure that we are positioning ourselves as a leader. So we're hosting events or conversion events such as webinars, briefings, live streams. We want to make sure that we're not convincing anyone to work with us. We're educating them and we're empowering them to make informed decisions. That's what we're doing. I'm empowering you to make an informed decision. Okay. They have not consented or they don't know that they're being sold to. That's an unqualified lead. And I would never, ever, ever put a lead on my sales team calendar that they didn't realize they were going to be sold to, ever. So this is something you have to really be careful about whenever you're outsourcing to external marketing firms. So it's like these hunters that are, oh, we'll put guaranteed 20 calls on your calendar every month. Well, I bet, and you guys can tell me in the chat over here, have you ever gotten on a call with those leads and they're like, I don't even know what this meeting is about. What are we doing here? Like, put a yes in the chat if that's ever happened to you, because I know it's happened to our
That's
clients.
happened to a lot, like myself included. That's happened to, because I've outsourced sites with my stuff before. And usually, I'm not saying all, but a lot of the times, these cold calling companies or appointment setting companies, they only care about the numbers. And a lot of the times their message is, we're the cheapest guy in town. Why don't you try us out?
And then you have to go in and you've got to undo all that thinking, because you've been drinking the 7-figure Kool-Aid, and you go into that meeting, you say, yeah, we're not the cheapest people in town. And they're like, what? Well, that's what I was told. Or what do you mean? Like, that's what we're looking for. So this is where that disconnect comes from. So this is why I have so much to say on this. This is why we have to be very careful with who's doing our lead generating. And most importantly, it's you in charge of that strategy. Yeah, been there, done that, won't do it again. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vince. And yep, disarm the buyer through consent-based selling. Exactly. Like, we're all business owners. They realize if they're going to be on a meeting with someone, and if you're upfront about it, there's going to be so much more respect, so much mutual understanding between you two. And then you both get to make, again, empowered, informed decisions, period. Okay. They don't believe in cybersecurity threats. They're disrespectful of your time, your expertise. So kind of going back to what Niles said earlier in that screenshot, he said, they're like, yeah, we don't do online meetings. You'll have to come to our office. Okay. Well, unfortunately, that's not how we do business. We'll be glad to set up a Teams meeting where we can see you face to face and we can conduct this meeting, like 15-minute that way. And then we can discuss coming on site for our follow-up meetings. Cool. I will set the stage for how we move forward. Okay. But we can't be mad at people who expect something different whenever I haven't told them the way that we do business. So this is where it all comes into you being in control. I can't be mad that I keep getting unqualified leads. I can't be mad that I keep getting bad leads if I'm not taking advantage, if I'm not taking control of the things that I do have control over, which are all these things on this list. Okay. And then again, barely scraping by financially or floating the business. That is a huge red flag. If they mention that they are floating the business, if they mention that, yeah, I just had to take out a loan to make payroll, or I don't know how we're going to pay the taxes this quarter, or I don't know, we had our lights cut off last month, we still owe our last IT company. Red flag, hang up the phone, goodbye. We're going to part ways as friends. Happy to support you in the future. Okay. Those are not qualified leads. Okay. So here's just a fun way to put this. If I had 100 people in the room, right? If I had 100 people in the room, I would rather be so specific and be so clear on who it is that I want to work with using those key indicators and disqualify 3/4 of them. In fact, that's what your content, that's what your marketing material, that's what your lead generation should be doing. It should be disqualifying 75% of the population out there and then leaving you with 1/4 of qualified leads who are ready, willing, and able, right? Instead of me trying to convince all 100 of them and expending my marketing resources, expending my 10% of my annual revenue of my marketing budget, instead of expending all that budget on 100 leads, 75 of them of which are going to disqualify themselves later in the process, or I'm going to chase them around for the next 12 months and they're never going to buy from me. I would rather disqualify 75% of them and be left with 25 rock solid, good leads. I'm going to work them for the next 6 months and I'm going to go close some deals. Okay. All day long. I'd rather do that. That math for me. Okay. So next up, we're going to talk about strategic inbound marketing. I'm going to show you how all these pieces work out. But this looks like whenever you're putting out your content and you're speaking to the right kind of buyer, you're speaking to the right kind of lead, and leads come to you. So they're opting into your webinars. They are opting in to your digital, ebooks. They're opting into any type of hand raising post that you put out. This is types of content that we work on in Marketing Machine. So inside of our program, we have a full course or a full curriculum around marketing and lead generation. And these are the things that we're doing in there for inbound marketing. So this is where leads are coming to us. This could even be considered, once you get there, your ads budgets as well as your SEO budget. So those are leads that are coming to you. Now you put the gas into it, you put the fuel into it, but then ultimately leads are coming to you. And then you have your outbound marketing. So outbound marketing is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck the fastest. So this is where leads, where you are going to your leads. This is what we focus on in Leads Mastery, because you get the fastest result, and it's fully controllable. It's fully controllable by the action and by the input that you put in. So think about that. If I'm going to put in the input, I better target qualified leads. I'm going to target people that have the money and the budget, and they have the time, and they have the right mindset, instead of me putting in the resources to target the wrong people in my outbound marketing. So this is my cold calls. The workshop that we did last month, this is going to be my cold calls. This is going to be my outbound emails that I'm pushing out. This is my networking each week, where I'm going out and I'm shaking hands with the right kind of people. This is, any of my outbound dialers, anything that I have going outwards, where my direct mail pieces. This is where I am targeting the end user, and therefore I'm looking for that response back. Okay, that's my outbound marketing, and they both work very differently. And I would say your outbound marketing is where you have the most control, and then your inbound marketing is a side effect of your outbound marketing working.
Can I say something on that too? I had my hand up. I don't know if you saw that. I was just like that annoying student down here at my hand.
That's okay. No, the student is the one that just says it. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Well, I ended up doing that. So here's what I will tell you guys. I ultimately am, obviously the owner and the CEO of Seven Figure MSP. This is the world that I live in now. So you guys know that. It's tons of vision around IT and MSP and all this other stuff. But my world that I live in as a business owner is I manage cash flow. I run that, and that's what I care about the most. My second most important thing is I care about lead gen. That's literally the most important thing that I do every day. That does not mean that the rest of my company suffers. This just means this is what I put my most time and my most effort into, because I care about it the most. Cash flow and lead gen. Think about what runs my business. What's the oxygen in my business? Specifically for me, I am a huge, huge, huge fan of outbound marketing. It's great to have somebody call us. It's great to have somebody refer it in. It's great to have somebody click on certain things. But when we can directly control, and Lindsay specified this very clearly, when we can directly control I say this actually to the team internally and to our inner circle clients, I put my name in their mouth. So I want you to think about that and how effective that is. How often in your business are you putting your name or your business's name in their mouth?
Yeah, very well said.
Really important.
Yeah, very well said, especially with changes in social media platforms, just the air of the world right now. It's so important that we are taking control of those things. And that is by doing that.
We are battling, to give you an idea, my inbound team, we are battling Facebook and Google and all these emails rules and all this other stuff constantly. And that's mostly related to inbound marketing. But our outbound, bam, 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 bam.
It's so easy.
Hammering all day. And that doesn't mean we're abusing systems. We're following rules. We're doing things the right way, but we're still actively controlling it. And it is really, really important. I want you to think about your business. Are you waiting around, waiting for leads? Or are you controlling them by calling, emailing, cold mailing, visiting, roadshow, all these things? It's a major difference. And I will tell you right now, I would not be sitting here talking to you if my company, Seven Figure MSP is our main product, but if my company was exclusively reliant on inbound marketing, I would not be sitting here right now because I would run out of money.
Yep, for sure. And I think that a lot of business owners are fed this lie or this myth that if you build it, they will come. And well, I'm a good tech and I do good work and I'm really great at my job. You can be the best dentist in the world, but if you don't know how to go out and get leads for your dentist office, you're not going to have any patients. We can be the best coaching company. You can be the best cybersecurity company. But if you don't know how to go out and get leads, you're going to be very, very limited. Okay. And especially the right kind of leads. Okay.
And it's got to be good content too, guys. Like your stuff has to be very valuable. And I'm also going to tell you, I know Lindsay's going to cover this a little bit, but I'm going to tell you right now, if you think you're just going to turn on ads somewhere and it's going to magically convert in clients coming in the door, highly unlikely. You're going to spend a lot of money on ads before you start to convert, because you got to learn how to market first.
Yep, absolutely. So on our next slide, we're going to go through, you can just go ahead and clip through all those. Thank you. So we talk about the sales process. And if you're kind of new to this world, I like to give you a visual just so you can see how all of these pieces play out, especially if you kind of have grown by accident, or you've sort of just been based on referrals. So, hey, maybe you couldn't help the kind of lead that you've gotten. And so far they've been all right, but now you're starting to realize, the gas is starting to run a little low. We got to do something. We got to get in control of this. And you hear us talking about the sales process. And maybe you've heard the word first time appointment, discovery call. This is a visual of the entire process. Okay. So my cold lead, this is exactly what it means. It's a cold lead. It is someone who they don't really know who we are. They don't have any type of buy-in with us. There's no education. There's no trust. There's no framework for rapport that's been built. There's no consent to be sold to. Number one, remember that. There has been no consent to be sold to at that point. So keep this in mind when you are doing cold calls or outbound calling, outbound mailers, outbound emails. And you'll see this again with some outsourced marketing agency. They will try to go straight. Look how far down that is the line. They'll try to go straight to closing them as a client, straight to replacing their IT company, straight to closing them on a cybersecurity risk assessment. Hey, we're often offering CSRAs at half off. Well, there's so much wrong with that. Number one, you've already devalued yourself and you've said that, hey, this thing can be discounted by 50%. And number two, you're throwing the CSRA out there for anyone and their mother that wants it. I don't know if I want to work with you just as much as you don't know if you want to work with me. Okay. So we see here, cold lead has no consent. They have no buy-in. Next step is this is our nurture phase. So this is where the qualification happens. This is as much, again, us qualifying them as they are qualifying us. Okay. So this is where we're going to make sure that we're getting them into our educational content. We make sure that they fit our ideal client profile. We make sure that they have an awareness of how this impacts the company, the growth of their company, their future. They realize that, wow, if I don't take action, here's what's going to happen. Okay. Then once that has taken place and they consent to being on an appointment with us, then they move into that first time appointment. That is a quick 20 minute phone call with a member of our sales team. Or if that's you, MSP owner, then it's you. Very short, very quick. I'm going to give you a checklist of questions to ask on that first time appointment. If they qualify to go to the next step, then they go into a discovery call. A discovery call is only for your qualified, top-notch, hey, I would want to work with them. They've got the right time, the right money, the right mindset. They're the kind of leads that I want to work with. I'm going to pull them into a discovery call. If I find from this last phone call that, yes, it's a good fit, I'm going to be pitching my cybersecurity risk assessment, which is a paid product, always, always, always a paid product for new leads. Never, ever, ever is it free. And we have an entire pricing model inside of our program that we help you with. Sometimes there's special circumstances if you're working a 100-seat lead that we help our clients work through. But this is always a paid service that you're then selling them into the discovery call. Then once you run that assessment, which typically takes 30 days, you go run their assessment, present their findings. At the end of that 30 days, present their findings. Then you're closing them into a client. So think about all those steps of emotional and physical, literally physical or financial buy-in that has to happen before they're ever even presented with an offering to work with us on a 36-month agreement. All these things have to take place. They got to pay me first before I even pitch a contract to them. So think about the psychology behind that. You have to pay me before you even pitch me. That's huge. Okay. So that's going to help you get a higher close rate.
And I will tell you, guys that are watching this, we just had a client close a 100+ seat CSRA, sold it for just about $28,000 American. They were here in Texas, actually. and that turned into a 7-figure long-term client.
Yep. Yep. And I will also say that it was primarily through their sales team. So through their BDR, their business development rep.
I think that came from, Melanie told me that came from a trade show.
Yeah, came from her networking event. They went to a trade show Q4 of last year. She came back. We worked that list. So she came back with about 40 leads. Came back. We worked the list. We nurtured the list. And it took about 3 months for this thing to go through. But now we have a 7-figure contract that closed. So, and it was through her having a very, very clear picture and a clear indicators on who her qualified leads were. So this is how it all plays out. Okay, so next thing is for every person that's in that closing phase. So for every one deal that's in the close, I need 10 more in the works. And that's just a really good rule of thumb. So if I've got 10 first-time appointments on the books, well, then I better be working another 100 leads. Okay, so do the math on that. All right, so if I've got one in the works or one in the close, I need 10 more in the works. So I've got to have a steady pipeline. I've got to have this process going at all times, because when someone doesn't work out, when we find out this lead isn't going to work, it's not the right time, they don't have the budget right now, circle back Q3, it's tax season, leave us alone, whatever the case is, that's okay. I got more where that came from. It's fine. I'm not worried about if I can eat or not. I'm not worried if I can keep my lights on. Okay. This is also, I'll just plug this in. I'll just, say if you are starting your MSP, if you are starting your business, don't quit your day job yet. We have clients that are still working their day job. They're still working their W-2 while they are building their business, while they are getting their recurring revenue to go all in, because you don't want to be in a state of survivalhood while you're trying to do this stuff. That there's no better way to like be in a feast or famine cycle other than being in survival. Okay. So next thing I want to talk about here is identifying your target market. And as Chris and I were planning out our workshop, we talked about, hey, what are some of the most important things that you all can do, that an MSP can do? And this was something that we definitely agreed on, that we want to make sure that you are super clear on who your target market is. So as you are, again, expending your resources, your marketing, your lead gen, your sales resources, that you have a very clear idea on who that target market is. Because if I'm going to build the list, if I'm going to be doing the calls, I'm going to be doing the outbound calls, these are all things that I can control. Okay. I got to make sure it's the right people. So the first thing we want to talk about is your target industry. So a couple of examples here. Accounting firms. Okay. They have compliance. They are very risk averse. They are aware, hey, there is risk. We need to be compliant. There are fines. There are penalties. I also realize I am working with thousands of people's PII. I've got all this financial info. So this is a really, really high stake industry that's a pretty straightforward target. Okay. Then you have commercial construction. Again, we're looking at investment funds. We're looking at loans. We're looking at tons of financial back and forth that's on the table. Okay. Biotech startups, same thing. A lot of times we have investment funds that are there. We have information from investors. We've got stakeholders that are in there. They have buy-in. So they want to make sure that, oh, we're not going to get hacked. We're not going to be breached. Someone's not going to just realize, oh, you're a startup for, this biotech industry. Cool. We're going to come in and take all your info and lock you down. And now you got to pay us $500,000 to get your info back. Well, how are you going to take that to your investors? How's that going to sound? Okay. So these are just a few examples. And if you have a target industry that you currently target, let me know in the chat. I'd be happy to give some feedback on it during Q&A time. But these are all industries that have reason. They have awareness. There's something on the table there. Okay.
Here's one thing I'll also tell you guys. I know Lindsay is saying target an industry. We'll just go back a slide, identify your target market. Obviously, we want to target one. This doesn't mean this is only who you're going to service as an MSP. Keep in mind, this is outbound marketing.
Yeah.
Much easier to attack a single target than to be like.
It can be eventually. Eventually, you could hyper niche whenever you're making 30 million.
100%. But in the early stages, just outbound market, to a single vertical, single industry, get really good at it, then you can expand. So then you can go from accounting firms to a biotech startup or to a commercial construction firm or to a insurance company or elderly care facilities. Like these are all verticals that I loved, but it's so much better to be able to speak their language. It's so much easier to build a list. Like these things are so much easier when you're dealing with a single vertical versus, again, you'll take anybody that comes to you, but this is who we're actively going after.
Yep, absolutely. So after you have your industry locked in, then we want to look at their annual revenue. So my suggested minimum is $1 million in annual recurring revenue. This is a minimum, not a maximum. It's a minimum because I want to be looking at companies that have the budget for technology and cybersecurity. And typically we're looking at least a 5% budget. Okay, so if we do the math on that, right? I do the math. And you can see here on the next page of the employee count, but I got to have a budget there. I also want to be looking at if I'm charging $300 a seat. Okay, so you heard Chris say, hey, $300 a seat. That's the standard across the board, no matter where you are in the world. If I'm charging $300 a seat and I'm targeting 10-seat companies, what's my MRR there? $3,000 in MRR. Not bad. I'll take it. $36,000 a year. Cool. All right, 20 seats. That'll get me to 6,000 in MRR. Okay, 50 seats, 15,000 in MRR. Now I'm talking 6-figure per year contracts. Where would I target my in my resources, my marketing budget, my outbound marketing budget? Chris, where would you target your budget? 10 seats or 50 seats?
I would definitely. My MSP even back in 2015 was in the 50-seat range. That's who we were going after and actively targeting. Now again. Anybody that came to us, basically, anybody we usually didn't have many that were small, but if they were qualified at a 3-user company and we're selling them the right, we were basically 300, 400, 500 a seat for a small company way back then. And we had to get out of bed number. But our target, who we went after, was 50 to 100.
And again, it's not to say that you can't work with someone who has 20 seats, but where are you going to target your energy? Yeah. This is important. Okay. And actually in Marketing Machine this past round, so in Marketing Machine, we run it in a 4-week cohort. And in this last cohort, we had someone who's working on their list. They're getting ready to build their list. And they said, well, I'm going to target companies that are 50 seats. So me being their coach, I'm like, okay, well, if you can work with 50 seats, you can work with 100. So let's go for 50 and 100. So in that list that we built, we targeted companies that had 50 and 100. So ask yourself, well, if I can work with companies that have 10 seats, can I work with companies that have 20, 30, 40, 50? And ask yourself, what would have to change operationally? And if you're like, yeah, there's no way I can handle 200 seats, well, then start making the changes now. Start putting it on your vision board to make those changes in your company so that you can get there. Okay? Because again, that's the things that you can control. Can't control the algorithm. I can't control what Facebook or Meta or GDPR, what these things do, but I can control what I do and where I focus my efforts.
Yeah, we can't control SEO and we can't control referrals and we can't control a lot of these things. This becomes something that we can actively, like the more variables you can control, the better.
Yep, absolutely. All right, and the last, or no, actually not the last two I have here, geographic. So I'm going to focus on one area at a time. So as I'm building my targeted list, I want to break this out into single areas in terms of geography. So for an example, maybe I service those accounting firms. I'm located in North Florida. So for me, I would target North Florida first. Well, I've only got about 2 kind of, I don't even know if I'd call them metro cities, but I've got like 2 hubs here in North Florida. And then I'd have to start moving down into like mid-Florida. So maybe I would target North Florida first, then I would go down to mid-Florida, then I could go down to Southern Florida, South Florida. Okay, but I would do those in 3 separate sets. That way I have different message. Okay, I have different campaigns because the more specific that I can be, the better. So as my dialer, and I'm thinking scale here, if you don't have a dialer yet, I hope you do in the next 6 months or less. So if I'm thinking about scale, I have to be thinking when I hand this off to my dialer and they're making these calls, they're able to pick up the phone for every single lead that's on this list. And they say, hey, we help businesses in the North Florida area protect their company and hit their business goals. We're hosting a cybersecurity briefing XYZ. Okay. But I'm able to be specific in the area that they're in. Okay. Let's see, are seats the same as employees are or users? So it kind of depends on the industry. Chris, I'll let you answer this if you'd like.
Yeah, yes and no. Here's kind of how I measure a seat. And again, here's what I'll tell you on this. Common sense applies across the board on this. A seat is usually a human and their workstation. So I just think about me. What do I have? I got my laptop here. I got a phone. I got a tablet. That's kind of a one seat scenario. We got to manage it all, but that's basically what I see as a single seat. I also look at a server as a seat and a VM host as a seat. But common sense applies a lot of this. And certain people and certain seats are going to take more to manage. It also depends on if they have more risk. So I like to start at a baseline of $300 per seat on a 36-month. That's our baseline. And then depending on what they have, there's sometimes a PITA tax. That's a pain in the ass tax, right? So there's things that we want to put in as part of it. But a good baseline is, what's my get out of bed number? How many seats do I have with that model I just had? How much risk do they have? And I'm going to start that at $300 a seat on a 36-month agreement.
Yeah.
Now we get to that $36, that $300 per seat mindset with an 80% gross profit margin. Baseline. A lot of variables, but here's what I'll tell you. Most MSPs don't know their numbers. So it's easy to start there because I can almost guarantee you it's way higher than what you're already charging.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So on the next slide here, we talked about the geographics. Now I want to talk about the psychographics. So this is something that is going to blow your mind because it's going to shift the way that you create content, the way that you make calls, the way that you talk to your leads at networking events. On the very next slide here, I'm going to break down, and you can take a screenshot of this. We'll include this in the handout that goes out after. But this is breaking down the psychographics of your ideal client. Now, you can make your own psychographic profile, but this is your moneymaker right here. So this is breaking down the values, the beliefs, the personality, the motivation of my ideal clients, all these things that make up the inner workings, the values, the traits, the psychographics of my ideal client. So let's think about this. I'm just going to pull out a couple here to focus on. Values and beliefs. They value reliability and security. Did I say that they value the lowest price in town? They value penny pinching? No, they value reliability and security. It was just like the website that we looked at earlier, where it says that you value speed and availability. You want fast, secure, and availability, always available. That's what they value. And they explicitly stated that in their marketing. They explicitly spoke to that psychographic in their marketing. Okay. Look here at interest and profiles. They are engaged in professional groups or networks that focus on technology and business leadership. What type of business owner is invested into technology and business leadership? Is it Tech Tom that's just trying to survive and he's ready to get off so that he can go fishing and he doesn't want to do any extra work on his off time and he don't got time for that coaching stuff, all that woo-woo stuff, right? That's not who that is. This is the person that wants to grow. This is who we're talking to in our content. All right. What about the person who is risk averse? They're like, yeah, I don't want to take any chances. I don't want to take any chances because, hey, maybe my business is small and it won't make the news, but it's not too small to be hacked. And they realize that. So that's why we're talking about these companies who have investors, they have stakeholders, they have shareholders, okay, that they need to protect their investments. What about their motivation, their goals? Maybe their goals are to ensure smooth, uninterrupted business operations because they actually care about their clients. They care about their reputation. They care about what people say about them. They care about being a leader in their own industry. Okay, so this is going to separate those, operating out of their basements in the wee hours of the night, kind of bookkeepers versus the, hey, I'm building a CPA legacy. I'm building a financial legacy over here. That's going to separate those two types of clients or those two types of leads. Who do you want to work with? Who do you want to target your energy with? Again, not to say you can't help this person. If they come to you, they're ready. They maybe fit some of the other psychographics, but who are you going to target with your outbound resources? Okay. What about challenges, pain points? Are they frustrated by downtime? Are they frustrated by the limited capabilities of their in-house IT? This is a really, really cool way that you can start to invite in those IT folks, those in-house IT. because, hey, I'm a fan of co-managed plays. I'd rather work smarter, not harder. And if they want to keep their in-house because they just love their in-house IT, cool. We'll come in. We'll be the cybersecurity heroes. That's fine. Okay. And again, media consumption. Hey, they're on LinkedIn. They're reading TechCrunch magazine. They're attending webinars. They're at professional trade conferences. They're at these trade shows. Okay, those are the people that I'm looking for. Again, not the people who are barely scraping by. They just want to be off so they can drink a cold one. That's not our target client. That's not who we're looking for. Okay, so super important. This is going to shift the way that you show up, you do your marketing, you make your outbound calls, and the way that you help lead your sales team who is also out there making those calls. Empower them to tell people no. How about that one? Okay. So again, on the next slide here, target your inbound and outbound marketing to this market. We want to stop expending resources to broke and disqualified people. So on the next slide, I have a full
I got a question quick.
checklist. Yeah, go ahead.
Lindsay's not watching my camera. Here's one thing that is really important about this. You guys see how key it is to have enough content that you can start to tell what they care about. So a lot of MSPs have a problem in that they put no content out at all. They literally put nothing. They put a website up and that's pretty much it. Maybe some ads here and there, but that's about it. The amount of content that we put up here, one of the reasons you do webinars, like we do 2 webinars a month, every single month. I also do multiple other ones. We do, like I just did a client interview last week Thursday with Melanie. I'm doing constant content. We also have our quarterly live events. So I'm creating all of this, and then we put this stuff all over the place so we can start to plant our seeds around and see who's interested in it. And then our CRM tracks lead scoring. So when they do stuff, we can see, and it tracks them and it follows them around, and we know what's going on, and we can see when people engage with our stuff. And if they hit a certain score, we pick up the phone and be like, hey, so you've been watching our stuff. Want to book a call? Oh yeah, I was just thinking about you guys. Like that's you need to be relevant. And I know it seems like a lot, but like we're doing a 90 to 120 minute webinar here. The amount of content that we're going to have for production in this is insane. You got reels, shorts, all these other things now. So it's really important to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to walk you through a very quick checklist of questions that you can ask in your first time appointment. And this, remember, if we think about that linear flow that I just showed you, that visual that took someone from a cold lead nurture process, then it takes them into first time appointment, discovery call, CSRA, and then ultimately closed contract. This is how you're going to weed people out in that first time appointment. Now, ideally, if you're targeting the right psychographic, if you're targeting the right geographic, if you're targeting the right market, you're going to get better leads on the first time appointment. But again, we typically see a 10% close rate from appointments booked. So if we will go to the very next slide right there, you guys can take a screenshot of this. You can write these down if you'd like. First question, how many, and I want to ask you, tell me in the chat, how many of you are already asking these questions? How many of these questions are you asking? Okay, as we go through these, tell me in the chat, how many of these questions are you already asking? What prompted our meeting today? So this is going to let someone tell you why they booked a call with you. Why did they say yes? Why are they on the phone? What are they looking to take away from this? This is an open-ended question on purpose. Have you had any kind of security issues in the past? Let's do a little digging here. What kind of security issues have you had in the past? What's your perception of what's going on with IT security right now? What's your perception of cybersecurity right now? Again, open-ended question. Let's see where they are. Okay, because you're going to get one or two. You're going to get, yeah, I don't really know what's going on in cybersecurity. I'm just looking for somebody to fix what's broken. Right? We saw that earlier in the bad lead section versus, well, I keep seeing the stuff on the news. I heard about the Microsoft vulnerability. We use Microsoft. I don't know if our current IT department is already doing these things, but I know that we've got a lot of money that's on the line here. So I just really want to make sure we're doing the right things. Two different people. You're going to find that out very early in this phone call. Do you have an internal cybersecurity policy? Who manages your IT today? Who manages it right now? How's that working for you? Oh, okay. What's your annual sales roughly? Okay. And what regulations must your company follow? So these are all business decisions or all business questions where this is going to help you become informed if they're qualified or not. Because again, we can tell people no. Your sales team can tell people no. And you're going to be able to identify right off the bat from this 15-minute phone conversation if they're qualified or if they're not qualified. And that's okay.
And keep in mind, guys, this isn't just, it's this list and only this list. Common sense applies. Use your head on this. There's other things that you're going to have to ask. Not necessarily things that would be in your CSRA either, your cybersecurity risk assessment. These are some qualifying questions in your FTA, your first time appointments, to vet your incoming leads to see if they're actually a fit for you. Do you have an IT budget? Like, you don't have to ask all these, but you surely want to have some that are relevant.
Yeah. So James says that he is asking 4 of these. Awesome, James. So I would ask yourself, which one of these do you need to bring in to help you make more qualifying decisions and to help your leads qualify themselves? This is the part of where you're kind of doing like some reverse psychology. There's some programming that's happening here. Whenever you're asking these questions on a subconscious level, people are selling themselves. On a subconscious level, they are saying, well, who manages it today? Well, we have, someone that we've outsourced this to. How's that working for you? You are helping them kind of dig up all the things that's not working, what they would like to have more efficient, what would the ideal solution be? Okay. It's helping them think about, well, what are your annual sales? How much money are you making? Okay. If we're still outsourcing this to my cousin's sister's brother and hey, we're making 10 million a year, there's probably a disconnect there. Okay. You got a lot on the line. Okay. So thank you for sharing that with us, James. All right. So now we've talked about what a qualified lead is, what a qualified lead's not. We've went through the psychographics of those qualified leads. I realized I got to get folks educated. I got to get them informed. We just went through those questions to ask in the first time appointment to help weed out the people that are not a fit. Now, how do I get the right people in the door to begin with? How do I get the right people in the door and on the phone call with me on my sales team calendars to begin with? I have to educate them. I've got to engage them. So like Chris said, we've got to be talking to our audience all the time. We got to be putting out content that is relevant, okay, that's relevant and that gets people to raise their awareness. So my question for you, tell me in the chat, do you already have educational opportunities that show the solution that you provide? Do you?
Here's something I'll tell you on this too, guys. Have you done a webinar in the last year? This means, do you have things that your clients actually care about, or your prospects actually care about, that you do consistently? That's how I look at this. And I'll give you an example of this. Look at the webinar you're on right now. We do a webinar every 2 weeks. We have varying different topics, and it's all stuff that you care about. We're giving you real training. Don't be afraid about your prospect doing this stuff on their own. Show them how to do their own risk assessment checks. So show them some stuff that really has value, because then they actually engage. Like you people that are typing in the chat and working with, you're valid leads that are asking good questions and engaging in our content. So think about that. Look what we're just said, educate and engage. Look what we're doing here. We're engaging with you. We're live. We have people in the chat. We have people on social media. We record this. It goes on YouTube. It goes all over the place. And we have educational opportunities that exemplify the solution, not the tech in your case, but how to check your own risk, how to like give them real things that they really care about. And Lindsay's going to give you some examples next.
Yep. All right. So, and also I will add to that, Chris, we make real-time decisions on how we exemplify those solutions. So this is the power of you doing these things over and over and over again. So if you did a webinar for 3 months in a row and you're like, yeah, I'm getting signups for it, but no one's converting, that tells me there's a disconnect in that message on the webinar. There's something going on right there. So I've got to make real-time decisions to change that, because I have control over that. I want you to leave this webinar thinking about what you have control over. For us internally, we made changes on the content that we're delivering in our webinars. We delivered the same webinar for, I believe, like last half of last year. So we delivered the same thing each month. We went back, we looked at all of our data. We looked at the comments. We looked at the engagement. We looked at what people were telling us at our live shows, at our events, the questions that people were asking. And guess what we did? Now we have content that directly answers those questions, that directly educates and engages on that real-time feedback that we're getting from our audience. So you have to start looking at yourself like a marketer, like a salesperson. How are you exemplifying the solutions that you provide? Okay. So an example here is this could be a cybersecurity briefing. This is a weekly briefing that our clients are doing where we are, or where our clients are showing, hey, here's what's currently going on in the cyber landscape. It's a group meeting. So whenever they're doing their outbound calls, they're doing their outbound lead generation, they are inviting folks to come to their weekly cybersecurity briefing. It's a 15-minute group meeting where they are sharing, hey, come have a coffee with me, hang out. Let's talk about what's going on in cybersecurity and how it impacts your business. They take them through a nice little slideshow. And then from there, they're driving them to that first time appointment. They're driving them to their calendar to book a call. Okay. Next example here is the why you need a cybersecurity risk assessment webinar. So this is a group style webinar that our clients are using. So once a month, they're hosting this webinar. Again, they're outbound lead generation, they're mailers, they're at trade shows, conferences, they're opt-ins, they're driving leads to this once per month webinar. It's typically 45 to 60 minutes where they're educating them on the cybersecurity risk assessment process. How long does it take? Who's this for? How often do you need one? And it's very straightforward marketing to let them make an empowered and informed decision. They're also, this is where your ears perk up, they're also using this to go back to their existing book of clients and help upgrade them to their stack through the CSRA. So this is
their best stack, right? Their best stack, like we talked about earlier.
Best stack, top tier. That's right. And then last here in the States, we have what's called the Federal Trade Commission safeguards. So we have an entire campaign our clients run around, hey, here's what your auto dealership or here's what your CPA firm needs to know about the new FTC safeguards. Again, it's a group webinar. They're taking their outbound marketing, they're taking their outbound dials, emails, etc. They're pulling leads in that are affected by the FTC safeguards, okay, that states if you deal with at least, I think it's 5,000 consumer records, and you are in a non-banking financial institution such as CPA, mortgage broker, lender, etc. How do you comply with FTC safeguards? There's all these things, and they're pulling them into this educational opportunity. They come into the webinar, they're educated, they listen, they raise their awareness, then they go back out, they book their FTA, now they're in the sales pipeline. Okay, so do we see how this process is working? We're not calling leads up that are disqualified. We're not calling up leads who don't know us, don't trust us, trying to get them on a phone call. That's an immediate disqualification. Okay, so here is my recommended lead generation plan at a very, very high level view. Daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. Okay, daily, I'd be pushing out 50 to 100 outbound calls every single day. And you can see in parentheses what I'm doing on those calls or what I'm doing in each of those actions. So daily, I am driving leads to my weekly event or my monthly webinar. Every single day, I'm pushing out awareness building content, pushing leads to my event or my webinar. Daily, I'm sending out my cold emails, pushing leads to my weekly or my monthly webinar. All right, that's my daily flow every single day. That's where I'm focusing my energy. Okay. Weekly, I have a cybersecurity briefing. This is a group meeting where those outbound calls, they've came into that briefing. Now I can push them to the FTA after they've sat with me for 15 minutes and I've created that touch point and I've helped to create some awareness. Okay. I'm doing a weekly live stream on my LinkedIn, on my Facebook profile, driving leads to the first time appointment. I have a weekly warm email that goes out to my warm database. That's all the people that have ever consented to being on my email list by opting into a webinar, lead magnet, booklet, etc. Okay, the kids are home. You may hear them in the background now. So I'm bringing them into my warm email list. I'm sending out a weekly email, at least a weekly. We do daily emails, but we do weekly warm emails. We want to drive them to an FTA. And then I recommend every single person on this call be at least 3 networking events per week. And you're going to say, what, Lindsay, you want me to go see people 3 times a week? Yes, I do. If this is important to you, absolutely, because what else are we doing, right? What else are we doing? Tickets, I get it. All those things. You can take 3 hours out of your entire week, 3 hours out of your entire week to go and talk to people, get out of your bubble, put yourself in the room with people and faces and into these spaces where you can establish yourself as the expert. Go do that. I promise you, it's going to pay off in dividends. Okay. Monthly, I want to be hosting that Why You Need a CSRA webinar, the group webinar that we just covered. I'm driving leads to the first time appointment. And then I have a monthly cybersecurity newsletter, driving leads to the first time appointment. So you see how we're strategically moving leads down the pipeline. Quarterly, I update my list. So you heard us talk about, oh, well, maybe first you start out with a CPA firm, then you move to the biotech startup, then you go to elderly care facilities, et cetera. Every single quarter, I want to assess my data. That's why it's so important to have these things documented, have my processes, have a strategic sales process. I'm not just one sheet in the wind, one finger in the wind, winging it. I want to have a process so that at the end of that quarter, I can assess the campaign and then make the decision. Do I stay here? Do I double down? Am I becoming known in this industry? I'm going to keep going. Or I need to make a shift. Accountants are not responding. I'm not getting any traction in this industry. I really don't like talking to lawyers every day. I'm going to make a change. Okay. Make those decisions fast. Do not wait 2 years and then say, well, that didn't work. Make those changes fast. Okay. Quarterly, want to host any kind, doesn't matter, some type of in-person event where you are establishing yourself as the authority. You're bringing together community leaders and your hottest leads. Could be a business brunch, could be an in-person lunch and learn. We actually have a couple of clients right now that are doing a tax season is over lunch and learn. So it's a celebratory lunch that they're hosting, like a Taco Tuesday kind of thing for the accountants in the area to celebrate tax season being over. What do you think this is doing? Establishing them as a trusted partner in their business building journey, and they're driving leads to an appointment. Okay. And then of course, quarterly business reviews with your existing clients. Okay. So anywhere in this plan did I say we're going to call cold leads and try to convince them to work with us and buy a CSRA on a 50% discount? No, we did not. We are qualifying as we go. Okay. And Ryan, thank you. I see your message over here to send you the video.
I'm already on that. I got that.
Perfect. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, I think what's really key with this, guys, I know this is going to seem overwhelming at first, and you're like, I don't even know where to start. And I start with something small, pick a single vertical.
Yep.
And I will tell you, as a guy that did this, I was a tech, and I was in multiple different coaching programs. I was in all kinds of different stuff, and you just need to sometimes get your feet wet and go. What's different about now compared to when I started this in 2006, 7, basically, is when I was doing this. You have a lot better ways to get in front of a lot more people than I ever had, because my options then were buy a list and direct mail. We could maybe cold call, but it was a lot of work. I ended up building a really large cold calling team. I'll tell you that. And it was more like, and all the same stuff that we did, like you see what Lindsay just had there now about the webinar. We do a monthly webinar. We were doing a webinar a week, and we were doing a live event a month in our office. Give you an idea, at my MSP back in 2010, I was doing for 52 weeks. I think we had 3.5 years where we did a webinar a week every single week. We also did a live event in our office every single month. We rotated it. Lindsay, see what we do now is we do every quarter here. Like every year we're changing, and we do a webinar, 2 webinars a month, and then we rotate cadence. And it's always different topics and different stuff. It's basically the same concept that we had. We did a different webinar. We did a different live event every single time period, just like she has here. So we did weekly, monthly, quarterly, but we just changed up cadence. So we did one on cloud. We did one on backup. We did one on, I forget what the other one was. We basically had 3 live events that we did, and we just rotate them. And I will tell you what, here's kind of the rule of thumb. Start small. And if you do anything for a year, you can't fail. It's kind of the rule that I have. Think about this in your personal life. If I eat well for a year, you'll lose weight. You'll be feeling better. If I go on a 10,000 step walk every single day for a year, my life's changed. If I work out, if I do pull-ups for a year, if I do push-ups for a year, if I do 20 a day for a year, your life will be changed. It's that kind of thing. It sucks to start, but you know what? Just effing go. That's the Chris Mono. And it's real. You're muted, Lindsay. Sorry. I think Lindsay is yelling at her children. I can see it right now.
I was yelling at you, actually. I was talking to you. No, I was sharing. I showed you my board earlier, and there's a quote that I put on there that says, do what the few are willing to do. So if this looks daunting to you, pick one thing. I would suggest starting with your outbound calls. Go there. Start with your outbound calls. That's going to put you directly in contact with your industry. Start there. That's the very first thing I would do above anything. Yeah. So do the things that the few are willing to do. All right. So couple of closing thoughts here. Again, if we're working with a 10% close rate, and the more qualified your leads are through doing this qualified lead generation plan, okay, on the next slide here, you're going to see the math breakdown. If I have 20 first-time appointments per month, that's going to roughly break down to 10 appointments that go forward to a discovery call. Out of those 10 discovery calls, 5 to 6 will convert to a paid CSRA. Like, how many of you would be like, what? 5 to 6 paid CSRAs per month? That's money in the bank. Okay. Out of those, every single month, 2 will convert to closed contracts. Now, the others will convert later down the road. Okay. They'll say, oh, circle back. We got to have another meeting. It's going to kind of get kicked a little bit. That's okay. But on a 10% close rate, you're looking at 2 closed deals per month. Every single person in this room can do this. Every single one of you can do this. Okay. So closing thoughts right here. Number one, I want you to share your wins, whether you are in our coaching program or not, whether in Marketing Machine, Leads Mastery, our big business owners Facebook group. If you've never seen us before in your life, I want you to find someone somewhere to share your wins with. Preferably someone that gets your vision, that's on the same wavelength as you, someone that gets it. They dream big. They're excited for you. They want to see you win. Find those people, keep those people in your corner, cheer each other on, because winning creates more winning. Cheer your sales team on, give them wins, give them things to be excited about. I gave out awards today to our cold calling clients. So we've been working on this project. We had a group of clients come in, and for the past 2 weeks, we've been doing cold calls every single day. I literally gave out awards today that were like, most likely to get past or to befriend the gatekeeper, and assistant coach award, and all these things to just create more wins, to create this feeling of winning, and I'm doing something right, and I'm going to keep on doing it. Okay. Number 2, practice every single day. If you have not put in 10,000 reps, no complaining allowed, period. So just like Chris said, do it for a year, then you can assess. I promise you can't fail. If you haven't done it 10,000 times, I don't want to hear you complaining about it. Okay. Number 3 here, we want to normalize the bounce back. So no one in the entire world was born a master at marketing or sales. Nobody. Okay. All the sales and marketing books I have behind me, all the books I listen to, all the podcasts, all the things, one thing you're going to hear in common is nobody was born great at this. They've learned from other people. They've learned from mentors. They've listened to seminars. They've been to webinars. They've been out in the field. They failed, and they failed some more. Okay. Nobody in the world was born great at this. You gotta practice. And I actually gave out an award today that was the comeback king. So it was the person that, like, he had some really crap days, and then he turned it around, and then he'd go book three first-time appointments the next day. Okay. So make that a part of your norm. And then last but not least, document your process. We can't scale it. We cannot repeat. So document, take note of your numbers, realize, hey, I keep getting on the phone with people that are unqualified. Well, what's the same about them? Find some recurring trends. Where are those leads coming from? If you've got a friend that keeps sending you crap referrals, well, then maybe you need to go have a talk with that friend and say, hey, buddy, here's what I'm looking for. Here's who my ideal client is. Go educate them.
Yeah, not all referrals are created equal, right? Like, great, don't get me wrong, but it's almost impossible to scale a business on referrals. Yep. I still have MSPs tell me all day, I rely on referrals alone. Okay, then that's fine, but it's growth by accident.
Yep. Absolutely. And then the last piece here is just to invest in your appointment setting team. So if you are an MSP that's already at the place where you are hiring a sales development rep, or you have marketing team, or you have dialers who you're working with, this is the start and end to your profit center. So to your profitable pipeline, it all starts with the leads that are coming into the door. Okay, so invest into that team with education, with resources, with time, with failures forward. Okay, because that's the only way that you're going to get better. Okay, so with that, happy lead generation. Thank you.
So a couple things I'll tell you guys on this. First of all, phenomenal content, Lindsay. Great job as usual. It's fantastic stuff. Second thing I'll tell you guys, there's going to be a lot of companies that tell you that they can dial for you and book appointments for you. Like I get hit up, I'd say 2 to 3 times a week with, hey, well, are you looking for 20 appointments on your calendar? And I'll talk to some of these guys, but I'll be like, you can't do that. And they'll be like, yeah, here's my guarantees, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And if I flip it around on them to show what I want, the things that I need, they're like, oh, well, we don't do it that way. We have our process. Anybody that is not going to use your system is probably not going to be worth the money that you're paying them at all. It's probably going to be like a penny on the dollar worth scenario. So just be very mindful when things are like, oh, we'll get you 20 new meetings a month. Not all leads are created equal. Think about all the things that Lindsay just walked you through and the world that we sit in. I would highly, highly, highly recommend investing in, just like Lindsay said right here, into your own appointment setting team, investing into outbound marketing. Put your name in their mouth. Now you have to make sure you have strategy. We have shortcuts to all this stuff. I shouldn't call it a shortcut. It's accelerants to all these things that I'm going to show you guys in a minute. But it's really important to invest into lead gen. And it just comes down to, you want to grow by accident or you want to grow with some control. And if you're perfectly happy where you're at, that's fine. Why are you on this webinar then? Goes a whole lot down to that. So, okay, got a couple other things here that we're going to hit really quick here. We got a little Q&A. We got some questions that came up here. Some of you guys were asking for the video from last month that Lindsay and I did. I put that in the actual webinar chat that is here for you guys. Anybody that's on the internet watching this, I'm not going to put that public. If you want it, we'll drive you to our school page. It's there. Got a couple other questions that came in. Specifically, there was one here that came from Vince that said, what is typically included in the $300 per seat? Let's go all the way back to what I mentioned early. $300 per seat should include not your good, not your better, but your best. What should the client have for full support? Not what are they willing to pay for? What should they have? It should be the best. And I want you to think about this. If you had unlimited budget at your client to do it the right way, what would that be? That's what you should be putting in for them. I know it's hard to put in. I know it's hard to build a stack, but we got thousands of people in our program doing that at this point. And they're winning and they're succeeding and they're selling at $300 plus per seat on an 80% profit margin. So I want you to think about what the best is. That's going to change. It's going to have some baselines. It's going to be like, and I talk about this in a lot of my presentations, specifically at our road show. I walk through this whole thing. Ryan and I do this, and we talk through exactly what's in the tech stack. We talk through how to sell it at our road shows. So we're going to be in Boston. We're also going to have this live streamed next week. If anybody can make it to Boston, you're going to get special bonuses and gifts by being live with us, but we do live stream it as well. So you'll get targeted for that, and you guys will get some follow-up emails. But the bottom line is, what should be the best? Basic managed services, standard cybersecurity stack, including support, all-inclusive, flat rate monthly. 300 times what is your full stack? That's your plan. That's what should be there.
So Chris, do we still have the thing going on where we have some VIP hotel things going on for the event? Is that still?
That's for the live event. That is not for the road show. We do have that. If you guys register for the live event, we're giving away some hotel rooms for that. Some of that ended Friday, Lindsay, so thanks for bringing that up.
Whoops. I'm trying to get y'all free stay. Never mind. I take it back.
You guys ever have like that one bad employee that you're like,
I'm the personality hire. What can I say?
I love it. Okay. Any other questions that you guys have with us? We got a great crowd here with us today. Good to see you guys. Really good comments here. Vince, thanks for your comments. Frank Murtica, your comments as well. You guys should see that I posted that video below to all you guys that were on StreamYard with us. I am going to continue on. If you have questions, hit me up. I think we answered most of the questions as we went.
Yep. As we went, I'm going through now. I don't see any extra questions.
I think we got anything else. So, okay, sounds good. I'm going to keep going here on my presentation and let's see what we got here. So I want to talk a little bit about our coaching program, our 7-figure MSP Inner Circle. Here's a great example of one of our members. Now, Brian is in Bakersfield, California, not a huge company. Lindsay, you know how big Brian's company is? I think he's like 3 or 4 guys.
Yeah, he's a pretty
He's not huge, but here's a good example. My first no, and what we do with the first no, if you go back to our run the play worksheet, we find 3 clients that will say no to anything you suggest. So that's what this was with Brian. My first no just signed the contract. They were an hourly client initially, 16 computers signed to a 3-year deal, $2,000 onboarding and $3,500 a month. Let's do the math on that one. Let's see what we got here. Brian was, so we got 3,500 divided by 16. That was 218.75. So not exactly 300, but surely not bad. He had a $2,000 onboard. They were an hourly client. He went a little bit cheaper. Remember, $300 per seat on a 36-month deal is your baseline. He went a little cheaper. That's okay. Common sense applies. Bottom line is he joined our coaching program August 24th of 23, closed his first deal in 21 days, 5 presentations in 4 weeks, 4 contracts signed, and a total of $7,800 of brand new MRR. Yes, he had an hourly client that was already a client, but he upsold them. And that's what's really key about this stuff. So I want to talk about our Inner Circle Elite coaching program. This is a full sales and marketing program. So you get sales with Chris and the rest of our sales team. You get coaching with Lindsay and the rest of her marketing team, top to bottom. I'm going to walk through what that is. You get our double your MRR sales system. That's our complete sales onboarding system, along with the entire training process. You get it live with me, Cindy Phillips, and Ryan O'Hara. Every single week we do onboarding. We do this live. And we educate in a group setting. Our calls are phenomenal. We had our weekly onboarding today. That's with me. We had a huge crowd today. It was absolutely awesome. So many good comments and questions and issues going on. We also have on top of that our weekly open office hours. So basically from here out, we're going to teach you how to sell. We're going to teach you how to sell at an 80% gross profit margin, $300 per seat, baseline, 36-month deals, baseline. And we're going to educate you and train you and walk you through that from top to bottom. Your first 3 no's get handheld through. And then from there on out, you never work a deal alone ever again, as long as you're in the program, because we have weekly open office hours and sales coaching and live training every single week. The same can be said for Lindsay Badillo's marketing machine. She has not only her marketing machine program, we make you go through sales coaching first, then you graduate into marketing machine, teaching things like she has here. Lindsay also has on top of that her leads mastery mastermind that's on top of that as well, which is phenomenal, right? That's teaching SDR, lead gen stuff, sales, SDRs, sales development rep, along with, SDR, BDR, same concepts. Mm-hmm. But that is a complete monthly onboarding process. So weekly on sales, because we have so much of it that's going on all the time. Marketing is more involved. It's more in depth. You see all the different stuff that Lindsay's teaching here and coaching here. And she's got, how many people you got in marketing machine? Hundreds. I don't remember.
Exactly. I have like almost 300 in marketing machine now.
Yeah, all the time, running through this real time with her. She also has 3 different weekly open office hours for marketing every single week. Great examples of that. So that's the coaching side, sales coaching, marketing coaching. We also have proposals, presentation, and agreement templates. You get our full cybersecurity sales presentation included. You get our full cybersecurity sales our full Word doc. So the top one is a PowerPoint. The second one, our proposal, is a Word doc, along with our risk acceptance letter template. All 3 of those are included in the coaching program. So basically, you do your CSRA, we teach you how to do that. We help you with the tools, we get you all that stuff. Then we teach you how to plug it into the sales presentation and the proposal, and then you book your meeting and you present. So it's a fast track accelerant to getting you all the way there. We also give you full master service agreement and statement of work templates included. Our full incident response plan template included. Our full discounted access to our MSP contract kit is there as well, along with every single week. In fact, 2 p.m. Central, about 2 hours ago, Paige Bennett is our in-house general counsel. She ran her full legal advice call. Every single week we do that. We also give you all these process structure and tools. So here's a good example. Our full 7-figure MSP risk assessment system has our done for you system and the tools included with it, along with our hiring machine to help you hire techs and staff, our full CRM, with training and coaching included, all these marketing campaigns, our email nurture software and MSP website, all included with the program. So honestly, there's like no reason that you can't just plug in and go in your first couple weeks. So what's the next step? You guys saw all the things that are included in the program. Here's all the different stuff. It's not even all of it, but it's a good chunk of the stuff. Values around 16,000, just under 16,000 a month. It's American dollars for the record. I'm going to give you guys a special offer today on top of that. You're going to be able to book your call and some of these other things coming right after this webinar here. 12 months of our elite coaching program for $2,000 a month. Now, for you guys being here live, I got a little bit better deal, which means you get a fast action bonus. You're going to have to book your call in the next 60 minutes. I'm going to tell you that right now. So I got a fast action bonus for you guys. If you book your call right now in the next 60 minutes, and we're tracking this, if you're live here on Facebook, if you're live with us, I'm going to give you a link in a second. Lindsay can type that into the chat here for me in a second as well. We'll take $250 off per month. That'll get you down to $1,750 a month. And I got a couple of bonuses on top of that. So we got all that stuff included. Oh, but wait, I have some concerns. I'm not positive that this program will work. I'm nervous to commit. I think it's a scam. Chris is a liar. Lindsay's worse because she's the personality hire. Is there a guarantee? Here's my 2 guarantees I got for you guys. So guarantee number 1, I believe in what we coach so much. Lindsay has been here, non-technical. Lindsay been here a long time now. You've been here 2 years. Cindy's been here 4.5 years at this point. We have built in a 90-day money-back guarantee in this program. So if you come into the program, now what I will promise you is if you come into the program and be like, oh, I'm going to sign up and then I'll bail and take Chris's stuff and leave, it's not going to work. You have to actually do the work in the program and participate in the calls for the first 90 days. But if you feel if you do that and you don't see any ROI, it's not worth it, or it won't work in my market, I will refund your money, no questions asked. Now, here's what I will tell you. I've never had that requested. The bottom line is if you come in the program and you do the work, it works. Nobody requests their money back because now I'm also not going to tell you not everybody does the work. I will promise you that too. You have to come in, you have to do the work, and if you do that, it will work. So much so that we added a second guarantee. If you do all the work, do your first 3 no's in the first 90 days, and you don't make at least your initial investment back in new MRR. So if you don't make at least $1,750 back in new MRR in your first 90 days, I'll write you a check for $1,750. Also, never been requested. Because we don't have to do that, because if you come into the program and do the work, you will win. It's that simple. It's the best guarantees in the industry. I will tell you that by far. And you know what's funny? I have people come into the program, Lindsay, on the business side. Like Michelle came into this program, our CRO. She came in from the agency space. And she's like, I've never seen a coaching program with retention like this. I've never seen a coaching program with success rates like this. Because the stuff actually works. And that's what's really key. Here is the URL for you guys to book your call. It's 7figuremsp.com/strategy call. You just type that in your browser and hammer it out from there. And if you do that, book your call in the next 60 minutes. Not only do you get all the stuff we were talking about earlier and that $250 discount, but you get a $50 Amazon gift card. So all you have to do is mention to the person you talk to, probably going to be Jose. Jose is our sales guy. JJ, he's our closer. You mention that to him and he will take care of you. And Lindsay just put that in the chat here for you webinar people with us. For everybody else, there's your URL if you're watching on the replay or live with us. And Lindsay, we are going to do some prizes.
Yay, prizes.
Okay, so here's what we got, guys. We got a ton of people still with us. What's one thing you can take away from today's webinar that you can execute in your business right now? There's so much content that Lindsay just delivered. We're 2 hours into this webinar today. I love it. We're 3 minutes in. That's a lot of content, a lot of stuff. But I want you guys to throw that in the chat for me. What's one thing that you can take away from this webinar that you can implement right now in your business?
And I think this is really important for you all to reflect on because it's going to be unique to everyone. So based on where you are, what's going on in your business, what is the first thing that you can do? Maybe it's updating your Facebook profile picture to something that looks professional and not you holding a beer. Or maybe it's you picking up the phone tomorrow and you calling, 5 businesses in your city. Maybe it's you attending the Chamber of Commerce that you are signed up for, but you haven't attended in a month, right? So it's different for everyone. Let's see. Vince says, Stop wasting time with low value clients or prospects. Absolutely. So I think it starts with you making the decision. You make the decision. I'm done wasting time with low value clients and prospects. Absolutely. Brian says, I'm going to work on 10,000 reps of one of the things in my daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly list. I love that, Brian. The power of one. Absolutely. Andre says, outbound calling. So I'm going to start making some calls. I'm going to pick up the phone. And Andre, in the webinar that we did last month, the cold calling webinar, we actually walked through how to build your list for your calls. And I go through an entire framework of your outbound calls. So if you want to hang out and listen to that webinar while you're
I just
walking,
put that
hanging
URL
out.
back in the chat too again.
Yep. Thank you for that. You can grab that webinar right over here in our chat, and that'll help you with your outbound calls. So really good stuff. So let us know in the chat, what's one thing that you can apply or you can take away today to help you get more qualified leads?
Okay, here's what I'm going to say, Lindsay, since we're running late today.
Yep, let's go ahead. All right, you ready?
We have 3 guys that have commented. Oh,
here's
more coming in. So we got more coming in.
Yay, threat awareness, webinar engagement, unqualified leads through lack of belief in cybersecurity, time to financial. Yes, all of that. Absolutely, James.
So we got all these people with us today. You guys got to comment if you want to win. Here's the deal, guys. I know we got a ton of people still watching.
Just start. Love it. I did oh, Chris, you'll like this. I gave an award this morning to Joseph. You know Joseph from New York.
Yep.
For the fast, I think his award was called Fast Action Fanatic or something. And it was about him taking action and not waiting. And Joseph is like, I don't know, he's like 20 years old or something, super young.
He's a 20-year-old college kid going to school for cybersecurity who decided to start his own MSP. He's in Brooklyn, New York, and he's absolutely destroying it right now. It's so cool to watch.
See, Monica says, being full stack, having the ability to access risks, communicate effectively. Yep. Provide value to client. Beautiful. Awesome.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. You guys got about 30 seconds to put comments in. Otherwise, I am going to do a drum roll, and then I'm going to make Lindsay pick our $75 winner.
How many prizes do we have?
We only have 2 prizes.
2? Okay. Awesome. All right. I'm ready for the drum roll. You are. All righty. Let's see. Our first winner is Brian Punt, I believe. Brian. Yay!
Okay, congrats, Brian. Brian, do me a favor. Put in the StreamYard chat your business MSP email address. You won a $75 Amazon gift card. Congratulations, Brian. Brian's listening because he just typed awesome. So, Brian, put your business email in there. All right, next one coming up. Thank you so much, Brian. We will get that out to you. That comes out of Lindsay's bonus, which her bonus is 0. So Lindsay's going, now it's coming out of her paycheck, which is great.
Bonus is 0.
That's
Gotta go.
0 for 2, girl.
All good.
All
right. Next
you guys
up,
are turning on the comments. Okay, Lindsay, $100 gift card winner. That's it.
All right, here we go. No. I was showcasing his comment. Okay, here we go.
This is my Clark Griswold drum roll.
Actually, it wasn't. It's Vince. Vince Corp. Yay! So
good job, Vince. Vince, do me a favor and put your business email in the chat, please. You have won another one of Lindsay's bonus checks. Congratulations. Put your business email in the chat, please. You have won a $100 Amazon gift card courtesy of 7-Figure MSP.
Yep.
Lindsay, any parting words from you today?
Yeah.
You can't leave until you put your email in the chat. You won a $100 gift card. There we go. Okay. And Vince, since you're in Canada, we might have you do a PayPal request. So I will have Anne-Marie reach out to you on that. Oh, and you guys also get a Chris Weiser Sucks t-shirt.
What? That's awesome.
That's part of our gifts now, is we send them a Chris Weiser Sucks t-shirt also.
That's really cool, actually. Okay, so I did actually have one thought as you were going through our coaching program and you were talking about the guarantees. It just made me think of, we give so much value in these webinars and we give so much value at our live events, and we are telling you how to do this stuff. So could you go and take what we tell you and apply it? Yes. And do that. Please start taking action before you come into our coaching program. But I want you to look at having mentorship and having accountability as the accelerant for growth. This is the thing that's going to make you go farther, faster. Okay, so I want you to do this stuff by yourself. Take these things, make calls today, update your profiles, host your first webinar, do some things today. But I want you to start thinking about how far can I go when I have mentorship, when I have people that are in the trenches with me, when I can take this stuff back and I can go get feedback from my coaching team on this, and start thinking about those things. And just decide, is it for you or is it not? Have a conversation with our team. So really great stuff. Thank you, Chris, for having us. And we're going to get our slide deck stuff down next time. My technical issues over here.
Yeah, I don't say about that, but okay. Well, at least you're not on a Mac anymore, so we're making baby steps here, guys.
Progress.
So, great job, Lindsay. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Would love to see you at our live events. We got Boston next week. If you guys want to come there, at 7figuremspevents.com. In fact, let me throw this up on the banner if I can find it. It's 7figuremspevents.com, just Maine for the whole things, and then Indianapolis if you want to come register for the live event. We'd love to see you guys there. Key promo code RevGen. The one in Boston is free, so we'd love to see you come. Indianapolis is going to cost you a little bit of money. It's $47, and if you don't show up, you got to pay. But other than that, we'll see you guys there. Lindsay, great job. For Lindsay Badillo, my name is Chris Weiser. Have a great night, guys. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.